we are growing, sometimes when we choose to grow, and sometimes we are not choosing to grow.
So sometimes those couch potato days are also very necessary.
Did you learn anything? And just let the person see the positive things, because we are seeing negative things better than the positive ones.
Don't forget, you are not alone, you are part of the team.
Welcome to the Volunteer Support Podcast, brought to you by the European Union's co-funded project Promptus.edu, a collaboration between associations Audis Out Mori and Building Bridges.
Welcome to Volunteer Support Podcast, where we address common volunteer questions and concerns for both volunteers and receiving organizations. This episode is dedicated to talk about cultivating growth mindset. And here with you is Audis Out Mori team, Gabriele and Tadas.
Hello.
And we have a very special guest, Vaida. Vaida is a Wonder Woman. She is a former head of Youth Emotional Support Line, and she managed a team of teachers and hundreds of volunteers. She dedicated many hours to listen to people in need by giving them emotional support. Hi, Vaida.
Hello.
Vaida, could you please present yourself? What do you do now? And tell about amazing things you do.
Where should I begin? I think in this context, I want to say that I'm a volunteer first, and I'm a volunteer for quite a bit of time, for 13, 14 years now.
Wow.
In the emotional support line. I've been working with volunteers. I also used to be a trainer of international volunteers who are coming to our country for a year. And nowadays, my career shifted a bit, though it's still connected with the people around me. So now I am the head of HR in one of the IT companies in Lithuania.
Okay, nice, very nice. So I wanted to ask you, what is volunteering for you? How do you understand it?
For me, volunteering is a lifestyle, I would say. But at the same time, it's been with me for so many years that it's even hard to imagine what would be life without it. I guess volunteering experience has led me through who I am today, and also was shaping me in my, not the teen years, I would say, but in this youth years. And it gave me a lot. It gave me confidence of my skills. It gave me job opportunities. It gave me friends. It gave me love of my life. I think I'm so grateful for the organization that I don't know when I should stop to thank for all the things I received from my voluntary experiences. But at the same time, I feel that I am so privileged to live the life I'm living that I need to give back for the community. And I feel that this is sustainable in a way. This is my way of contributing to the bigger wealth and bigger things than only myself.
Oh, that's very nice. So how do you see a person who is considering volunteering or who is volunteering already?
I see a voluntary sign on a patch as a quality one. Even in, I don't know, now I'm a lot with job interviews and candidates, and those in whose CV I see voluntary experiences. I think it is a quality sign of a person, not only thinking about himself or herself, but also this giving back to the community moment is also there for me. And at the same time, I see these volunteering experiences, they are chosen by brave people, basically, because you need to have courage, you need to be some kind of adventurous to lead yourself through the way, especially if you are choosing this long-term voluntary experiences for half a year, for a year abroad. I think it is a brave choice, but at the same time, very enriching choice, I would say. Those many volunteers I met through my life, I think there is almost none of them who regret it, even though the experience itself might be challenging sometimes.
That's a very good introduction to challenges. As our today topic is cultivating growth mindset and how to view challenges as opportunities to growth. How did this topic came into our heads? So we talked to volunteers abroad and we asked what helped for them. And one of the answers was growth mindset. And I think there are many different mindsets and attitudes that can help you during the difficult time. And growth mindset can be one of them. So what came to your head when you first heard this topic, growth mindset and seeing challenges as opportunities to growth? It's a question for all of us.
What I thought about this topic is that we are growing sometimes when we choose to grow, and sometimes we are not choosing to grow. So the challenge sometimes that we are taking, it can be more work, that is more difficult to do. But sometimes it can be some challenges in family or some other situations that even going abroad, there could be some unexpected challenges. And that is also a way for you to learn, because in the very difficult situation, you can just be traumatized. And at least if you can't change anything, you can change your view about the situation. So there is lots of lessons learned from challenges.
I can add on maybe that there is this theory that we have comfort zone, learning zone, and panic zone. As it says, learning is happening in a learning zone and not in a comfort zone. Going abroad, sometimes is the challenge good enough to push us through a learning zone. And I guess it's even impossible to think that when we are going abroad, we will not be pushed through learning, because we are leaving our language, our culture, our home, our friends and family around. So there will definitely be learning. What is important, that we could manage the learning, but not go into the panic zone where the only thing I can think about is how to get out of here. It's too much, it's too stressful, too difficult. I guess this learning zone is really enriching us, and every time we are starting something new, even new job, new voluntary experience, new country, new culture, there is this growth happening because we need to face new challenges which we haven't faced before. And if we would look at it as problems or obstacles to my happiness, I think it will be very difficult to go through. But if we would look at it as an expansion of myself, as my own broadening skills, having an opportunity to observe new things, then this learning path can be really enriching and involving myself as a person, as a colleague, even like maybe gaining some skills I need later on in my life. There are many things to explore in this learning zone.
I thought that it's very symbolical that sometimes challenges come to us and it's involuntary, right? And we cannot choose it. The illness, the loss of some other person and so on. And sometimes we choose these challenges voluntarily and it might overwhelm us, but when we choose it consciously and it's voluntarily, so you feel in control. If the person is avoiding challenges for a long time, and these challenges come anyways, and even small challenges will be really huge for you if we are avoiding for a really long time. And as you talked about, your comfort zone will be much, much smaller. But yes.
The thing is that we can see this situation in different age groups. So younger people are more adapting and learning, and some older, like pensioners, just living the life they used to live. But what is a challenge then if you just want to live how it was and the world around us is changing, and it's changing even faster. We are having lots of revolutions now, artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and so on. So the world still is changing. You can't stop that. But if you're not changing yourself, then you're losing connection with the world, and it's very difficult for you to live then.
They say that change is the only constant thing nowadays, especially, I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
And I can think about various situations where choosing to push yourself out of a comfort zone open the door to explore yourself as well, because basically we cannot know what we are capable of if we are just sticking to the comfort zone of our lives. And those experiences where you experience some either positive or negative things in your life, then it keeps you thinking, if I can do this, what else am I capable of? And I think it encourages the searching and exploring the world, the possibilities. And this is one of the things which in current times we need the most, to be adaptive. And I think this is already one of the superpowers which everyone should have nowadays. Being able to change, being able to adapt to new places, new ways of working, new conditions, because it is changing all the time. Let's look at recent years, how many times we need to adapt to various situations which were out of our control for sure. But those who are capable to adapt, who are capable to change their behaviors, their points of view, I think those are the thriving ones, nowadays especially.
Yesterday, as we were preparing for this episode, I played kind of a devil advocate. Like, why do we need this growth? Why everyone is so obsessed with growth? Do we really need this taking all the challenges? But yeah, I feel like you explain why we need that growth. That growth is related, not only growth for the growth, but to adapt to the situations and get aligned with the world around us.
Yeah, so I was also talking about that adaptiveness. I want to tell one story from the times when I was going by ambulances. People was calling, and quite a lot of people look the same when they're older, like 70, 80 years old. They have lots of diseases and they don't have a lot of cognitive ability to communicate. There is not that much of the speed and reactiveness and so on. But what I remember as a very different story was around 80 years old architect who was still working during age like that, and she called the ambulance because there was some issues with her health, like high blood pressure and some other thing. But the thing is that she was working through the night and she was having deadline, and just because of that she was like that. But the way she was working helped her brain develop, like it was learning all the time, and she was much different from the other people of her age. She was like quite young, I would say. Like the way she was communicating was like 50 years old, not like 80 years old. So that's also very nice.
We need to learn from this. Don't forget to read books and make this crossword challenges in our old days also, to keep us alive, basically.
Yeah, and as you, Vaida, said, people are quite often going to that comfort zone. Like the way we are living, it's like cozy place, we have cars, we are going warm, like we are protected from lots of the dangers that we have around, and we can be in that place. So everywhere is comfort, and then a little challenges is very discomforting us, but at the same time we are not having that learning.
There is a saying that the young generation is the soft one, because they grew up in pretty comfortable environment, I would say. And I would not totally agree with this thought, because basically like we are fighting our own battles in various different ways. But at the same time, we are used to this comfort lifestyle. Even when we are going abroad, we cannot compare 20 years ago and nowadays, when we have Google Maps, when we have the advices on which bus to take and it will take us to this place we need to go, where car sharing apps are working even in the farthest islands of the world and so on. But at the same time, I feel like we need sometimes consciously choose to step out of this comfort zone, because it gives us like an immunity system for the challenges we will face one way or another, because this is life. This is not only butterflies and flowers. We will face loss of the job probably at some point in the life. We will face death of our beloved ones. We will hopefully not face the war, but you never know. And various different challenges will approach us, and the more capacity we will have to deal with these challenges and with the unexpected situation which will appear one way or another, I think the more adaptive we will be, and the more likely we will learn from the experience, and it will not destroy us in any way.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And when you talked about changing of the job, I remember that I read one analysis that the conclusion was that the young people now will change 5 to 7 jobs through their life, at least like that, averagely. And even if the name itself of the position will be the same, the job itself will be changed that much that you will have to learn a lot, like for a new position.
And there will be lots of activities which we are not aware now. I would say in 20 years, there will be, I don't know, AI policy manager, whatever.
There is an occupation that the person is only writing prompts to ChatGPT, and it's their specialty. That's it. That's your work. So it didn't exist like 5 years ago or
even a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yes.
But at the same time, do not overestimate the need to communicate with others. And I think this is one of the things you can really learn through your voluntary experience, how to communicate with different kind of people, with different kind of backgrounds. You are going to another country and the culture there is different, and how to adapt, how to find the ways to communicate with this totally new people. Because I do believe that even though AI will steal a part of our world, I still hope that people will need to communicate with each other to have this world running. And I feel communicational skills, those somebody call it soft skills, but I call them power skills. Those power skills will be needed to find the ways to make decisions together, to resolve conflicts, to find a solution when there are different opinions on things. I think this will be very important in no matter what times. And this is one of the many things you can learn through your voluntary experience abroad.
I completely agree. But now I feel like my mind is focused on another thing that I heard, and I can't make myself not to ask this. All of us mentioned about this comfort zone, about learning zone, and then there is this panic zone. And I'm thinking about volunteers who is already tired and probably do not have resources to stay in that learning zone, and maybe he's already in the panic zone. So what advice could we give for them or for the organization that it has to deal with the volunteer who is already tired, doesn't want anything? It's enough of the challenges, it's enough of the growth. I just want to curl in my bed and wait this year to over.
I feel like this reminds me of many volunteers I met during their kind of middle of voluntary experiences. And I would like to normalize this phase basically. This is natural, that the honeymoon, when you are entering the new world and you are ready to conquer anything what will be thrown in your way, this is dropping at some point. And usually in the middle of your voluntary experience, it is natural that you feel down, that you feel like, this is enough. I've gathered what I wanted. This is enough. I want to go home. And I would like to normalize it in one way. On the other hand, the support which should be received by a volunteer plays a huge part in how the volunteer would overcome this phase. So the huge part is for the organization he or she is at, and what kind of support, and just a human kind of support, like asking how you're doing, maybe giving that blanket to roll in, giving hot chocolate and something else what the person needs. Just be a listening ear and listen through what is wrong and how a person is fed up with everything what is going on. But at the same time, from my experience, I realized what a crucial role is playing those who are staying back at home, like family members and friends, and what kind of message they are sending. Are they saying, I understand it's hard, you will get through this, you will see, this will be an enriching experience, I support you, it's hard, and maybe even we can have more often video calls or something else. Maybe I can send something from home for you. Or they are saying, oh, just give up, come back home. Like mother talking, I feel it in my words. Oh, my poor kid who is hurting you, come back home. And I feel like there is a huge difference. Either those members of hometown are supporting your growth, or are they protecting you from bad emotions? It's the same like protecting from threats of life. Oh, I am so sorry you feel this way, but this is a part of a growth. They say like teenagers are growing and sometimes bones hurt because how fast they are growing. So for the volunteers, I say the same. Basically, you are growing so fast that sometimes bones hurt.
Yeah.
I remember myself in the situation when I needed that support. I get this support from my supervisor. There was a point in my journey where I felt like I'm alone there. Basically, I was alone in the lab. I was overworked. I forget to sleep, forget to eat, the basic needs of the human. And one day she just called me and, how are you doing? And she's always very cheerful, but she is also accepting. And I tell her, I'm so stressed, I'm not producing the results, they are not always the same, what to do? And she was really in the mindset of growth. And she just said, okay, Gabriela, you are just doing your master's. Just think, have you learned something new? And I said, oh, yeah, but have you learned something new as you've gone there? Yeah, okay, I learned. What did you learn? I'm starting to name the things. Okay, that's it. Forget about the results. Everything will turn out great. You learned something, okay, you will redo it. And if not, we will do it here. Don't worry about it. And the magic words for me was, you are not alone. You are part of the team. And when you are alone there, physically, it doesn't feel like you are a part of team. But you belong to the team that was sending you, you belong to the team that received you, and the feeling of aloneness can be felt, but it depends on your mindset. How do you perceive it?
So the context is that Gabriela was in Spain, and at that time the supervisor was in Lithuania, so different country, quite long distance, and yeah.
I guess it is very important to have at least one this listening ear to talk with someone. And I would encourage, just don't stand alone in this. Just talk about what you are feeling and what doubts you are saying. Either people, will support you, they will help you to realize what kind of experience you are having, or just will support you in any way. Of course, people like to give advices and so on, but this is your journey, basically. And this is a very good question which your supervisor told. Are you growing? Are you learning something? And I think we can name many things in this kind of situation when I am even overworked, overstressed. My challenge was taking month or 2 or 3 or 4, and it was really difficult. But when you reflect on it, did you learn? Did you grow? We can name many things which we learned through the time. But we need to be reflective on it and also accept ourselves that, sometimes it's hard and sometimes the growing is not pleasant. Or sometimes I just need to rest and have this food and sleep and get through it. Basic needs are also very important.
Yeah, sometimes just to take a break and rest, and then we can look at the same situation quite differently.
I feel like sometimes you even need to name your needs. For example, to name that I need some enriching words here from my friend nowadays, or I need a hug, or I need a day where I would be a couch potato and I will not move anywhere, just will be lazy and sleep and eat potato chips. These days are also important. I want to normalize. There is so much pressure for this constant growth also that sometimes you feel guilty to take rest, basically. And through the voluntary experience, it is the same as in any work experience or even during the travels. For me personally, sometimes if the travel is for a longer time, like a week, 2 weeks, I need a day just to reset and don't be in this all the time exploring and going and taking and noticing, and very nice and enriching. But at the same time, I feel like I cannot be in this state for a long period of time. I need my time to rest, just to sit, drink my cup of coffee silently, even not to communicate with anybody, preferably. Those pauses are needed, and through the voluntary experience, which lasts for a year, of course, those pauses are needed also. You are constantly around people, you are communicating, getting to know new things, and so on. So sometimes those couch potato days are also very necessary.
I remember myself when I went abroad, I felt, okay, I have to take all of the opportunities to see all of the corners of the city because I'm not coming back here. And if I will not visit that park over there, I have to go 1 hour up there and 1 hour come back. Maybe I'll miss out on the things. Yeah, you see all the objects that you wanted, but at the end, you do not want to wake up next morning and so on. But I completely agree that naming yourself, first of all, and recognizing the needs are super, super important, and then be brave enough to ask for it. That's another step that sometimes can be hard. Both of them are very difficult for some to recognize, for some to ask for them.
Maybe I will simplify, but our needs are not unique. People need similar things, and of course, asking for it is a step to take, that's for sure. But at the same time, I guess nobody would be surprised to hear, I need some private space, I need a hug, I need some support. This is really important for me at the moment. Because those needs, especially when there is difficult times, they are universal, I would say, and it is applicable in various different scenarios of life. At the same time, those coping mechanism, how I'm dealing with a difficult situation, it might differ. One needs a friend, another needs silence, one needs an adventure, just leaving the city and going somewhere, another needs sofa and a blanket. So there are different ways of doing things, but I don't think that if someone would ask me, can you give some support words for me? I would be, oh, so surprised you need support words? How unexpected. I think it is our needs which are just humanish.
When you were talking, I remember the saying of psychotherapist Laurinaitis. So he was saying about the productiveness of the work. So if you want to be productive in the work, what you have to be productive in getting rest. Because without the rest, you can't be productive in work. Take the challenge, but then rest and take another bigger challenge and grow more.
And also be the biggest fan of yourself. Who will support you if you are not supporting yourself? I think I am the best cheerleader of my accomplishments because I know how hard it takes to get from one place to another. And I feel like it is really important to support myself during the journey and to recognize sometimes, oh my God, how many big steps I made to become the person who I am today. And those steps were not always easy. Of course, sometimes there is luck, sometimes there is good circumstances around to be in the situation I am now. But at the same time, I feel like, yeah, I think I did many small steps towards it. And I'm really proud of myself where I am today. And it is very important to support yourself and to be your best buddy during the experience of voluntary journey as well, because there will be times when it will be difficult and You need to support yourself that you were brave enough to start this journey, you are brave enough to finish the journey, and you learned many lessons during the journey itself. And about the rest, which you mentioned, I really love the memo in the internet. What if we recharge ourselves as often as we do to our phones?
Every day.
But this is good one. Really think about what if we would recharge ourselves as often. I think we would be thriving, definitely. And you cannot give to others if you are empty yourself. We cannot water from an empty pot. We need to water ourselves firstly before we can take care of others.
Do we have some kind of final advices for building this resilience, building sources to overcome the challenges and being able to seize at opportunities?
I have an advice. I know people don't like an advice, but I have an advice. Just have a list of things which helps you to overcome difficult situations. And it can be anything. Call for a friend, a cup of hot chocolate, having a bath, going for a walk. I don't know. I think that's my kind of coping mechanism. Have a list of it and keep it nearby, either in your phone, in notes somewhere, in a notebook. And when there is a difficult time, do those things, those 5 listed, 10 listed things. And only if you try all of those, then you can make a decision. Either you want to continue the journey or to stop. But firstly, do all the things you can to support yourself in this difficult situation. So this list of things, what you will do when it will be hard, I think this should be a mandatory practice for those who are taking a challenge as volunteering abroad for a year.
Nicely said. Maybe to add, not only rely on yourself, also remember you have a family there, maybe you already made some friends, or you have a supervisor that you can speak to. Don't forget you are not alone, you are part of the team, you are supported. And if you recognize the need and this need has to be fulfilled from another person, please communicate it. Sometimes it can be hard to communicate this need, but if the person cares for you, which often is, you rob them of the opportunity to help to you and build a stronger relationship. Sometimes we show vulnerability, and your friend that is caring for you is just waiting for the area to step in to show how much he cares for you or she cares for you. And don't rob them. If it's hard, call your friend or supervisor.
Yeah, that's very nice advices. What I would emphasize and would recommend the volunteers or future volunteers is when you are taking a challenge, don't forget yourself, don't forget your health and those basic needs that we talked about. Proper sleep, proper diet, some breaks, to not work like Gabriela 20 hours in the lab and so on. Just have that time to rest, to be able to take a challenge and to be able to grow. So it's very important to not change everything in the life. You can't change everything. We're wasting too much energy if we are just changing everything. We have to have a routine, the routine that get a lot of energy to us. So that's what I would recommend.
And as this podcast series is not only for volunteers, but also for the organizations that are sending or receiving, do we have some advices for them how to help with the volunteer in struggle?
Maybe the story with your supervisor was kind of advice for the organizations. Support person in the organization could ask, did you learn anything? And just let the person see the positive things, because we are seeing negative things better than the positive ones, because it's based on our evolution. Challenging things could harm us, that we may die, so we are focusing on that, and we have to take a lot more energy to even see the positive ones. And if we are seeing and noticing those things, we can get a lot more energy and just change our view about that.
On my point of view, in the organizations, mentorship is very important. And mentorship for the volunteers and also for those who are working with volunteers, I think it works both ways. And one of the things I would recommend for the organization is to have this regular check-ins with volunteers, how they are doing, what's the status, how they are feeling, and so on. And I think it is important to be approachable, that you would not feel only as a sending or receiving organization, but also that you are a caring person. And I think all of those organizations which are working with volunteers, they are caring about the experience, about the people who comes or goes from their organization. So just be approachable, be supportive, and be close by, that you would feel when the encouraging word is needed, when the hug is needed, and maybe just a bowl of hot soup would be nice just to feel like at home.
Yes. I wish for everyone, the supervisor that I have another supervisor, just to share that not all of them are the same. I had another supervisor who said, like, so what did you expect?
Oh.
I'm sharing the struggles, and what did you expect? So that's another
Don't
attitude.
do that.
Don't do that. Okay, advice not to do that. Yes.
So I guess the summary of all of the talks we have here is those brave people who are choosing the voluntary experience in their lives. Let's not forget that we are human beings who want to stay connected, who want to be taken care of, and also that we are capable to take care of ourselves as well in difficult situations when we face challenges, and we can see it as an opportunity to learn and to grow and to become the better versions of ourselves.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Nicely said.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, guys, for this amazing episode, and see you next time.
Goodbye, listeners.
Bye.
Bye-bye.